This week in the World on Water, the Extreme Sailing Series Race 15, where it all happens in Lisbon. Our 2016-17 Vendee Globe preview. The next edition of Pantaenius Yacht Insurance Storm Sailing Series. Michael Coxon from North Sails talks sailing. And Rick Moore from Sophisticated Lady joins us for the World on Water Cruising Series.
Welcome to Lisbon and Act 7 of the 2016 Extreme Sailing Series. This is now the business end of the season. Oman Air lead the way on the overall series leaderboard, but only just, because the Swiss team Alinghi are on a roll. Arnoud Sarafakis won last time out in Madeira, and now they have their eyes firmly set on the series win. But they have to get the win here in Lisbon. Red Bull Sailing are also in the mix. Can they finally click and get a win on Portuguese waters? But the big news here are the two wildcard entries. Adam Minoprio and Noralto are here and they know all about winning on a GC32. And an all-female crew, a first for the series. Thalassa Magenta Racing, plenty of talent and skill on board, ready to mix things up in the 9-strong fleet. It's day 3 of racing from Lisbon, the penultimate act of the 2016 Extreme Sailing Series. Well, you can see just how congested it is. 9 teams making all the difference at the moment. Sail Portugal, Visit Madeira to windward and leading the group in. And it is very difficult to keep control of these GC32s once you start getting them on the boil. As soon as these teams bear away and start to power up, you're going to see them pop on the foils and they're going to make that final charge into the line very, very quickly. They're now edging forward. Sail Portugal, Visit Madeira on the right-hand side. Land Rover BAR Academy just below them. Red Bull looking for a way through. Oman Air in the middle. Their main rival, Alinghi, just underneath them. And now the whole fleet bears away. Race 15 gets underway. They all sail off into the sun. Sail Portugal, Visit Madeira. The breeze is blowing and they are up on the foils and away. Oh, incredible conditions, the entire fleet now on the foils, but it is not easy to control. And look at just how quickly the foils get tripped out. As soon as you sail out of those conditions, you're back on down into the water. Land Rover BAR Academy trying to get over the top, but we are already at the first mark as everyone disappears into the sun. But now Alinghi leading the race at the moment, effortlessly sailing at nearly 17 knots and now up at 19 knots. 21 as the gusts come flying through. The Swiss team Alinghi, 23 knots now, leading the charge towards the bottom of the course. The breeze in the middle of this racetrack is fantastic. 29 knots. Will we see 30? And now Alinghi tip the balance. 30 knots, their speed peaking. Look at how quickly the bottom of the course coming into view. The two yellow marks, a leeward gate. They can sail around either one of these two marks. And how fast has that first half of that lap been concluded?
Yeah, I mean, you know, now you're going into survival sailing. It's now just about getting around the course and limiting, you know, damages or capsize. So it's really just about being solid. And in the boat, you're probably having that conversation like, okay, surf's up. We just need a lockdown now. Get around the course nice and safely, and we kind of got it in the bag type thing.
They've just gently throttled back a little bit. They're still going at nearly 20 knots as they reach into the finish, but now they get the chance to take it a little easy and sail safely across the finish line.
Yeah, just cruising, aren't they? Now they're out on their Sunday or Saturday cruise whilst doing 30 knots.
Well, Alinghi now cross the finish line. Race 15 goes the way of the Swiss team, and the breeze is certainly their forte. Edmund de Rothchild just looks behind them, and he can see the gap. Behind them, Oman Air in second place. Now round that last turning mark, managing to shake off the challenge from SAP, Sails Madeira, but Oman Air on the foils. Very different picture to what we saw with Alinghi. Oman Air finding the breeze to come across the finish line. That's a second place for Morgan Larsen and his team. But that is the damage done by Alinghi. In the overall standings, this just goes to help Edmund de Rothchild and his team. And in fact, we've got a little bit of problem out in the course. We've got a hole in one of the boats, and I'm not sure exactly which boat it is, but this is just coming off the course at the moment. Land Rover BAR Academy apparently getting into a collision with Sail Portugal Visit Madeira, and I believe Sail Portugal Visit Madeira are going to have to be craned out.
And now our weekly report on the Vendee Globe. This time, the Gitana Team. Edmund de Rothchild is the boat. It's a foiler.
À l'intérieur de ce bâtiment se cachent les fondations d'une écurie, fleuron de la course au large. Un héritage de 140 ans, l'histoire d'une famille viscéralement tournée vers les horizons lointains qui font la force du Gitana Team.
Pour moi, le Gitana Team, c'est l'esprit d'équipe. Le Gitana Team, c'est pour moi performance et excellence.
La force de cette équipe et ce qui nous lie, c'est l'audace et l'innovation.
À Genève, une exposition itinérante retrace cette saga maritime unique au monde. En 1876, sur les bords du lac Léman, la baronne Julie de Rothschild introduit le goût du large dans la famille. Aujourd'hui encore, la passion est intacte, comme le prouve l'attachement d'Ariane de Rothschild.
Je pense que c'est important de faire comprendre aux gens que Gitana n'est pas juste un événement ponctuel ou une série de bateaux. C'est toute une démarche, c'est toute une histoire familiale, c'est une posture de vie. C'est une vraie passion de le poursuivre sur autant de générations.
Ici, les murs ont de la mémoire. Les rives du lac sont le berceau de l'histoire de la famille Rothschild. Gitana, premier du nom, est un navire doté d'une machine à vapeur. S'en suivront des monocoques, des multicoques et des engins volants.
Ce qui m'intéresse, c'est effectivement l'innovation, la rupture, la performance non seulement technologique et la performance sportive.
Visionnaire. En créant en 2000 le Gitana Team, le baron Benjamin de Rothschild a perpétué la filière d'excellence. En août 2015, Ariane de Rothschild baptisait Gitana 16, un 60 pieds à foil révolutionnaire spécialement conçu pour le Vendee Globe.
C'est très enthousiasmant de pouvoir écrire des nouvelles pages d'histoire qu'on arrivera à transmettre à nos enfants.
L'exposition présente du 15 octobre au 6 novembre au Sable d'Olonne permettra d'entrer dans la légende de cette exceptionnelle saga familiale. Il reviendra alors au soliste Sébastien Josse de parachever l'œuvre de toute une équipe en écrivant les prochaines lignes de cette histoire.
Pantaenius Yacht Insurance presents Skip Novak Storm Sailing.
Welcome to Yachting World's Heavy Weather Seamanship Series, produced in association with Pantaenius Yacht Insurance. Before you go to sea in heavy weather, you must prepare the deck carefully. Here's Skip Novak to demonstrate what to do and what to check. Before you go to sea, irrespective of the weather, always expect the worst, because it'll probably happen. You want to prepare your deck very well, and there's quite a few things to think about. We've seen time and time again boats pull in down south here with guard wires ripped off and the push bits knocked over by stuff on deck like jerry cans, dinghies, loose items, albeit lashed down. It's amazing what the sea can do. So I'm going to show you how I do it. First thing, deflate the dinghy. If you're alongside the quay, often better to do it on the quay rather than the foredeck, because it's always awkward. For longer trips, we'd like to take our anchor off the bow, stow that below as well. Don't have to worry about it rattling around or breaking free. For shorter trips, we usually leave it on, but today we're going to take it off because it's Cape Horn. Okay. So first thing I'll do, disconnect the anchor from the chain. Then we have a very clever custom-made fitting here to let the chain down into the chain locker. And so you don't lose the end, you tie this to it, little string, so you can retrieve it later. Okay, that goes down the hole. And this little clever thing here is a stopper with a gasket. A lot of windlasses don't have anything like this, and this goes through the hole here and screws shut and seals the chain pipe. Otherwise you'd be flooding the interior with every wave. And you know, of course, if the chain is left in, the water is going to go in as well. All right, so that's nice and sealed up there. Now, next thing to do, we're going to take the anchor off and lower it down the hatch and tie it really tight in the forepeak. Can't get away. Okay, now we're going to hoist the anchor up with the Gennaker halyard and down the forehatch and secure it very well in the forepeak. Okay, Elaine? You ready, Dave? Ready. Ease on the safety line. Okay, you can start going down. We're at the base of the mast now. Things to watch out for, especially our halyard tails, if you still have halyard tails these days. Everything needs to be lashed up tight to a secure fitting on the mast. You don't want these things going overboard and following your propeller or rudder. That's a disaster. All your cable ties on shackles, everything, verify that the shackle's done up and there's a cable tie on all the shackles on your D-shackles. Halyard on, again, cable tie on the halyard shackle. Very, very important. Now we're going to look at all the, go around the boat, obviously. Hatches dogged down at sea, secured, check each one, and then go down below and verify down below that they're dogged down correctly and all sealed up. Now we're going to move aft. Right, we're in the cockpit. Lots of things to check and look out for here. There's shackles everywhere. Again, cable ties, make sure everything's secured, cable tied in. What else? Lifelines. Check each attachment point of all your lifelines. This is the one going to the hatch. Then we got the one fore and aft. Make sure they're all secure. General safety equipment. We've got our horseshoes and our Dan buoy, etc. Make sure everything's nice and tidy, clear to run. Okay. Open them up. Make sure she lights up. Okay. And what else we got here? All right, yeah, this is a good one. These hooks here on these gates for lifelines and all this type of thing, they can pop off at a very inopportune moment. I got a roll of tape here somewhere. There you go. I like to tape them shut when I go offshore. There's been some horrendous accidents with people just leaning against that and whoop, over they go. We're in the pilot house, dog house here, and continuing on with all the other miscellaneous safety equipment you find in here that's at the ready, visible and at the ready, how we like to keep it here. We've got our 8 life jackets in pockets, like that, all ready to go with harnesses attached. Okay. We've got flashlights, collision flare ready, VHF radio in case we need to communicate quickly from the deck. What do we got here? We got a couple knives, cut things loose in a crisis. We've got the EPIRB over there to grab in case there's an abandonment. And then we got a big flare supply here. I think we're ready to go sailing.
We're at North Sails once again, talking to Michael Coxon, the man that knows what's going on in sailing. And we just love our little chats, Michael. Summer's about to happen. What's happening on the waterfront?
I've been spending quite a bit of time out with Wild Oats, who are really getting their act together early for this year's Hobart. It started with the race north to the Gold Coast, and then I did the Keppel race with them, and then they did Hamilton Island, and now they've been back doing boat and sail testing over the last couple of weeks on Sydney Harbour, and with plans of optimising the boat for the Hobart race. So we're doing quite a bit of work there.
The time in Hamo was quite interesting, with having a little tussle with Scallywag.
Yeah, I think that was really, really healthy. Very light conditions for a lot of it, and I think that they saw they had a little bit of an Achilles heel in an area that previously was their strong point. As you're aware, they modified the boat extensively last year, and certainly it proved in the Keppel race in the fresh running that improved the boat dramatically. And you
got a dramatic result, did you?
Well, got a dramatic result. They broke their own record, yeah. And but it actually, they've certainly improved the boat's performance in the moderate to fresh conditions. The bow stays up, you can drive the boat a lot harder. And it's always a trade-off, so when you do that you trade off some light air performance, which is their strong point. So now we're focusing on how to optimise that light air to make sure that they don't give too much away in that area.
What about Loyal? Is Loyal doing anything?
Yeah, well, Loyal, I've been associated with Loyal for many, many years, and really enjoyed the association with the Loyal Foundation and Anthony Bell. About May, Anthony made the decision that he wasn't going to do Hobart again this year. So once he made that decision, I then went and looked for other opportunities, and I've now signed up with the Volvo 70 Maserati. And then just a couple of weeks ago, Anthony got in contact with me again and said he's changed his mind. But I said, look, unfortunately, I've made a commitment elsewhere. So I'll be helping them get ready for the Hobart with the Loyal team, and help them put a team together. But I won't be joining them this year.
Well, Maserati, tell us what's happening there.
Well, Jim Cooney, he's renowned for owning Brindabella, which he's campaigned extensively for the last few years. And he had decided that he wanted to step the game up. So Maserati came out from Italy. It's the old Ericsson Volvo boat. And it came out from Italy and did the Hobart race last year and did quite well. And it caught his eye, and it was on the market out here. So Jim decided to purchase Maserati, which he's going to continue to sail under the same name. He's had a word with Neville Crichton, who is the Maserati importer, and it will still stay under the Maserati flag. And I'm going to join the team, and we're looking at doing some optimisation for the boat at the moment. and Jim sails with his two of his kids will be doing the Hobart race, his daughter and one of his sons, and with basically the core crew from Brindabella, and then I've brought Tommy Braidwood on board, who does a lot of sailing with me over the years. I always take him along as my crew boss, and he's very good at whipping a team into shape, and very, very experienced, having done a number of Volvo races himself. So he's a perfect candidate to help us lift the level of the Maserati team.
Mate, Volvo 70s were made for the Southern Ocean, reaching. You know, this is the Hobart race. It's up and down the coast.
Yeah. I mean,
you need a bigger mast, new sails.
Well,
throw all the gear off.
Interesting you say that, because that's exactly what Blackjack is doing. Blackjack's a previous Volvo ocean racing yacht, and they're refitting that boat at the moment, putting a 2.5 metre taller rig in. They put a longer prod on it.
Excellent.
They're really turboing it up, and so that will be the boat to watch in this year's Hobart. As in, it's still only a 70-footer, so it's not going to necessarily go out and beat 100-footers. But I think you'll find it will be really nipping at the heels, and it will help the weak point. The weak points of say a Volvo boat is, for all the reasons you said, it's Southern Ocean. They're very solidly constructed. They're very beamy, a lot of weathered surface area, and fairly short rigs. So as a result, they don't like the light air transitions. Okay. Unfortunately, in a Sydney Hobart race, or the east coast of Australia, you tend to get a lot of light air. People remember the fresh airs, but you get a light air, and basically it's a windward return course. The breeze either blows out of the north or blows out of the south and goes through a quick transition in between. And the transition is generally light. So you have fresh out of the south, light through the east, and then fresh out of the north, and then it goes back again. So until you can get to some westerlies closer to Tasmania and in Bass Strait. So a reaching boat is not necessarily the ideal boat on the east coast of Australia. You'll get the odd day where it suits, the odd race it suits, but in generally you want a good all-round boat.
Well, that's why Wild Oats has been so successful, isn't it?
It is indeed. She is a boat that doesn't really have a weak point. And some of the newer boats, bear in mind Wild Oats is now, I think, going into its 10th or 11th year. Yeah. I think we launched Alpha the Alpha Maxi in 05, and she followed shortly thereafter. So the more modern boats like Comanche, they've been built wider. They're wider boats, but they're a lot lighter construction than a Volvo. So they've got those to go better in light airs, and than you'd expect them to go. And Wild Oats, by making her modification, has now improved her uprange performance. But again, she is a narrow boat, and narrow boats are good in transitions. But they don't have the same power to weight ratio when you do get those hard reaching conditions.
See Michael's full interview on our website, boatson.tv.
Very cool.
Starting in next week's Well Done Water, Rick Moore from Sophisticated Lady gives us all the goss on sailing and cruising in the Caribbean.
Alright, and the sun is shining, finally. Wow, we've been waiting for that. The storm finally cleared, the sun is back out, and solar panels are working. Oh my god, we've had no power, it's unbelievable. They don't have power for us here, it's all 220, so we have nothing to plug into. The only dock with 110 is of course over there, and it was long since full, long before we got here, so we didn't have anything to power from the dock, and we had a problem with the engine, as you know, so we're trying to not use that. I'm just going out now. Brendan and I are going to make an errand day today, and we're going to go pick up new oil and filters and alternator belts, because we had some... What was that? The cameraman that sneezes.